Cow here with Cammy. Having
Hi.
a wonderful time. How you doing today, Ms. Huddlestone?
I'm doing good. What about you?
I'm doing wonderful. It's the last day of my quarantine today. By the time that this video goes up, I'll have been freed. COVID free. Good stuff all around. Although I might have to get my tonsils out because of my voice. That's apparently what's doing that. So keep you posted on that.
Excellent.
But it's been fun. It's been a good ride, me and my tonsils. Just gonna have to call it quits.
Yeah.
I don't even know what they do.
Nothing, I don't think.
There you go.
Just get infected sometimes. Produce stones.
Well, good. Guess we're just gonna get rid of those then. But that's about all I got going on. You playing anything particularly interesting, Ms. Huddlestone?
No, not really. Still playing Animal Crossing. Great.
Good. I have not checked on my island yet today.
Need to.
I gotta do
Still
that.
chipping away at Bloodborne. So yeah, nothing new. What about you?
I don't know. I cleaned up my PC a bit.
Well,
but yeah, it looks like just more of the same. I did reinstall Cyberpunk.
why would you do that?
I got an urge. I was like, I wonder if I can go into this game because I have one save file that's very deep into the game. Like completed it, most of the side missions done. I was like, I wonder if I go back into this, if I start it from the top and I like have a goofy time with it instead of a serious time with it, if I'll enjoy it more. But I'll keep you posted on that. I haven't tried it yet.
Right.
My guess is it will be more fun because I'm not taking it as seriously.
Yeah.
But we'll have to wait and see on that. Wait and see on the
Feel like
verdict for that one.
Feel like you'll still get angry.
Probably. But that's okay because I also have Dark Souls 2 installed and I'll just jump into that anytime I get too frustrated with Cyberpunk. But Ms. Huddlestone,
Relaxing game.
I love it. It's great. You said you might have had a topic for us today. Hit me with it.
I might have a topic. I got a tattoo this morning.
Ah!
Ah!
That's right. That was today. Well, shit.
Yeah.
What'd you happen to get a tattoo of?
I happened to get. I'll send you a photo. I would show you right now, but obviously it's got like the wrap on it and everything, so you weren't actually.
Oh well, I guess I know exactly what it is. I was just saying, like, for the audience, because you've been talking mad shit about this tattoo. You've been hyping it up.
Hyping it up, because like for anyone who hasn't had a tattoo before, you wait a very long time to get your tattoo. There's a whole process. I've put it in general for you, Jacob, and you can have a look. There's a long process of like contacting your tattoo artist and waiting, and it takes a good few months, at least for my tattoo artist, between like the time you approach someone to get a tattoo done and then to the actual day of. And that's ignoring like all the time beforehand that you're like super excited and like developing the idea before you even contact anyone. So I've been talking hype for this for a long time. Finally got it.
Well, I just snuck a peek at the picture and it does look pretty fucking awesome.
Oh, I thank you. It's a deer. I guess I can like it won't be a great. There it is.
Whoa!
Actually, it's not too bad. It's showing up pretty good.
It looks great.
Thank you. It's a deer.
I was also gonna say you sent me a picture of it. I was just gonna put it on screen, but that works too.
You can do both.
That works just fine.
I went through pain for it. We'll show it off as much as we can. Um,
How long did that one take you? You said 3 or 4 hours?
we thought it was going to be three. Or my tattoo artist thought it was going to be three, but it actually turned out to be 1.5 because
Oh, wow.
her words, I sat so well that we like went through it loads quicker than she was expecting. Because your calf can be not the most pleasant place to get tattooed. It's pretty sharp, and then especially near the bottom where it's like next to my ankle, obviously it's like on a bone, and when you get tattooed on a bone, that's pretty painful. So she was picturing that it would take quite a while because I might need a couple of breaks and like, it's not the most pleasant place to get tattooed, but I sat like a boss. So
Hey.
yeah. Uh so we got it done in like an hour and a half. I had one break, but that wasn't anything to do with the pain. It's just my leg went dead. But not the leg I was getting tattooed, but the leg that I was like lying on. And the last thing you want is to get cramp or to get like pins and needles or something.
Yeah.
So I like stretched out. Um, so yeah, about an hour and a half, maybe a little over. I'm super happy with it.
It
It's
does.
my
It looks pretty dang awesome.
Oh, thank you. So it's my fourth tattoo, but first video game one.
Hey.
Oh, yay. It's not. I kind of like I enjoy when people get tattoos that are like very obviously to do with something. Like when people very obviously get like a portrait of something, or like I've seen people get like a game console tattooed on them or whatever. Like I think that's super cool. But I also like tattoos where you see it on someone else and you don't get the meaning of it straight away. Like if someone saw my tattoo, they'd think, "Oh, cool deer," but they wouldn't immediately connect it to like
Yeah, they wouldn't
Red
correct
Dead
it
2.
already or two. Yeah.
They'd just be like, "Oh, it's a really dope deer." So it's like I know the meaning of it, same way I know the meaning of all of my tattoos. They all have meaning. You don't have to have meaning behind a tattoo before everyone starts going down that debate, but mine all do. But like none of them you can tell just by looking at them. It's like up to me whether I share that with someone or not. So yeah, it's pretty cool. So everyone who sees it is just like, "Oh, cool deer," but we'll know.
We'll know
We'll
deep
know.
down.
We'll know it's a nerdy
We all know what this is really about.
Red Dead 2
It's
tattoo.
about that funny video game with the cowboys.
A funny one. Yep. Yeah. So yeah, there you go. I have my fourth tattoo, and I keep looking at it, and it's also if I look particularly exhausted or like drained, that's why tattoos really take it out of you. So
They
I mean,
drain out
it's
your life force.
yeah, like everyone has different experiences, but me certainly, it's like I get really anxious beforehand, but like a nervous anxious. Um, and then you have the like adrenaline rush when you're getting it done, and your body's like you're like super focused on staying still and staying calm and chatting, and like your body goes through it because you're essentially sat there injuring yourself or letting someone injure you for like several hours at a time. And then you leave and you're like, ah, oh, I have a headache. I'm exhausted. I'm hungry and sick at the same time. So if I am out of it or look half dead, that's why.
Well, fair enough. Well, good thing we're doing a bit of a shorter episode today
Yeah,
because
chill.
I think both of us are kind of in like I can barely talk. You're drained. I think
I'm
I
drained.
legitimately might tomorrow because I have like another 4 days off work. I
Mm,
think I get to the 14th. I might go in and just be like, hey, listen here, fucko,
these boys out.
get these out of my fucking neck. Do you know how much I have made at least during this quarantine? Like 16 or 17 beats, and I haven't gotten to like try any new music or singing to any of them because of my voice.
That sucks.
I've put so much. There's so much shit. I don't know if any of it's because I don't really. You don't really know until you try it.
Mm.
So I have no idea. I could have spent this whole quarantine just making a big pile of garbage, but I can't check
Fine.
because I can't sing
I
along to it.
I spent my quarantine sleeping an awful lot, eating a lot of cake, and listening to a lot of audiobooks. Audible, please sponsor us. But like,
Sponsor us. We're both big fans.
we are. I don't think you should feel bad if you created or did nothing in your quarantine because you had COVID.
That's fair. I don't know, but I'm
Like,
young and spry. I was over it in like 3 days apart from my voice.
yeah, but you
So,
might
you
you might
know,
have thought you were over it, but your body would have probably still been like dealing with it.
I
You
will
might
say
have
I enjoyed the
like thought
break.
you were over it, but you
Yeah,
might have been like tired, not really making sense. Because I like even like for a week or so after I was testing negative and out of quarantine, I was still like not with it. Like I would have to read things like two or three times before my brain would catch up, just because it like takes it out of you so much. So
that is fair. I don't know. Yeah, I spent a lot of it sleeping.
yeah,
That was pretty
so that's
great.
the thing. So did I. It was great.
And I was a big fan of that. But today's like
You
the
finally
pack
just
up day. Today's like it feels like the last day when you're on vacation or holiday or whatever, where it's like,
yeah
you leave tomorrow, but this is like the
yeah
last day. So it's like, okay, well, I should probably relax, but at the same time, I should get some stuff set up for tomorrow and get some, so I'm not frantic in the morning.
prepared to be back into life.
Yeah. And I'm
Yeah.
excited. I don't know how fucking getting your tonsils out affects you. I imagine it's like my friend KJ just got hers out, or I shouldn't say just, it was like 2 months ago, but I don't know
Michael
what it
got his
does.
out. When did he get his out? It was quite a while. Well, he had one out and they left the other one in. So he's an unsymmetrical boy.
Can they just take
Asymmetrical,
both of
that's what
them
it's
out? Can
called.
I just be like, fuck it, take them both?
I don't know, because your uh like healthcare works a hell of a lot different than ours.
Oh, that's true.
Because over here it's kind of like, well, we don't really need to take them both out, so we're not gonna take them both out. But like we're doing it for free, so like,
Might as
you
well.
can't. Yeah, so but on your end, on your side
It's a
of
little
the
different.
pond, it's a little different.
They hate
So,
us. They want us to die. No, it's not true. It's not always true.
well, they don't
Well,
hate you. They'll save your life, but they want to be paid for it.
we'll see how. I'll keep you guys posted on that. I hopefully won't. I don't want to get out of quarantine and then go in for this. And they're like, okay,
Yeah.
cool. We're going to remove those, but then we have COVID policy at the hospital. And so they might make me quarantine again after being in there.
Mm.
Fingers crossed that's not the case.
Oh well. It's for
But
your
we'll
health.
see. It's for
So,
your health. It's Steve Brule for your health. Put that on screen. Steve Brule. Have you seen Steve Brule or Tim and Eric?
no, sorry.
That is a must watch.
Okay.
I love it. That was a big part of this quarantine. A lot of Tim and Eric, a lot of Steve Brule.
That's fair.
It's fantastic. Oh, hey, speaking of things, I finished something. If you can see up by my head there's a very large stack of comic books. I
Yes.
recently, and also a Focusrite fucking Red Scarlet thing, I finished the Walking Dead comic. It is tremendous. I recommend it to everybody. But I decided, you know what?
Mhm.
The TV show's almost over. Why don't I
Mhm.
catch up while in quarantine? And
Right.
holy shit, the comic book compared to the TV show, like the TV show has some plot lines that are so fucking stupid. And I was like,
Yeah.
I can't believe that. But once you finish the comic book, it becomes borderline unwatchable. It's that bad. Cause I'm in the 10th season right now.
Okay.
I'm not fully caught up, so I can't speak for the newest stuff, which is I think just season 11. But
Mm.
holy, Cammy, I can't even put it into words. I think you need to be like our control test. Read The Walking Dead and then watch it.
I have to admit, I've never seen The Walking Dead, because around the time where I thought, oh, maybe I'll pick it up, maybe I'll give it a go. It was around the time where everyone started going, nah, it's gone shit. There's no point. Don't watch it. There's no point. So I like didn't, and I've put it off. And then I feel like it then some things happened. I don't want to spoil anything, but I'm pretty sure there was a character that died that everyone really liked or something.
I think I know exactly when you're talking about because there was
Yeah,
a huge spike and then the TV show fucked up big
yeah.
time.
Because then I remember everyone was talking about that, and I was like, oh, maybe I should hop back into it because or like try it for the first time then because everyone's reacting to it. And then if ever I asked anyone, they were like, no, we want to talk about it, but you don't watch it. Like I've never met someone who's actually said to me, watch The Walking Dead. It's good. It's always like, don't watch it. It gets stupid.
It does get pretty well. That's the thing. The comic books are like a story of hope and conquering the apocalypse and being better than the world around you. But the
Yeah.
TV show, there is a certain instance. There's a It's like season 7 or 8. I won't give anything too specific, but there's a clear shift where the first time I stopped watching it, are you ever going to watch The Walking Dead? Can we get into spoilers a little bit?
We can get into spoilers. Can I just say, is it to do with Glenn?
It's
Is that the
around
character?
that time cuz
Okay.
his
Because his death was the time where everyone was like reacting to it and everyone was going, oh my God, oh my God. Just so I was like, oh, is this something I need to watch? And I was like, no, don't watch it. But oh my God. I'm guessing it's around then.
it's right around then because what happened was you had this group of people. And it's one of my favorite things about The Walking Dead is when a character like completes their arc and
Mm.
you never really know what's going to happen to them. Like they'll become the most beloved character in the entire show and then die. It's especially apparent in the comic books. Like the holy shit, the amount of it's just left and right at the end of each issue, something fucking crazy's happening. It's so
Yeah.
good. But in the TV show, they made one fatal mistake. They did
Mm.
it at the start of a season. If you
Yes.
do it towards the end, at the resolution, you end with like hope because it's like, okay, then we have to conquer this. If you do it at the start of the season, that season 7 of The Walking Dead it's just like this. Or I guess it's season 8, season 7 or 8, whatever the main Negan one is, right after Glenn dies, Glenn and Abraham. It's devoid of all hope, all joy, anything. It's an actual like death march to get through. It's so terrible. It's not that it's like because it's not bad. It's not badly made. It just you don't want
Not.
to sit through it because it's just they take their time so much that you're just sitting there waiting for like okay, we know they're going to overcome this, but they just fucking twist the knife the whole time. They're like, "Yeah, but look at how miserable your favorite characters are." It's like
Yeah.
it's borderline a disservice to that because
It
that whole comic
reminds
book.
me of it reminds me of Game of Thrones, the end of Game of Thrones. Because I think most people agree, bar the lighting. Okay, the lighting is straight up bad in some of those final episodes. It's never badly made. Like season 8 isn't badly made, it's just badly written.
Yeah,
Like the acting's still good, the CGI and the makeup, that's still pretty good. Um, like music is still great, like all of that is still fantastic. It's just that the writers it wasn't that they did a disservice, it's that they ran out of source material and they just wanted the show to be over with and they like rushed. So basically George R. R. Martin I think gave them a plan, like an outline of where his books are going to go, and rather than taking the steps to go from like A, B, C, D to get all the way to that end point, they just went, okay, A to Z. So nothing made sense because you didn't have that arc. They just got bored and went, okay, we'll go there then. And it sucks because it's
yeah,
painful to watch because, like, you can tell, like, Daenerys in particular, the way her character ends up, it could have made sense, but because they like skipped out the whole middle portion of her character arc, it's just stupid and it's painful to watch. It's like I would never recommend Game of Thrones to anyone now. Like it used to be one of my favorite shows, and now I'd say don't bother watching it. And if you do watch it, stop at the end of season 4. Just don't bother going past it because it just gets bad to the point it's insulting.
Well, that's the thing with The Walking Dead is I don't think I could recommend the show to anyone. I'll recommend the comic books all day and night. They're
Yeah.
great. The pacing is fucking awesome. You never know what's gonna happen. But the TV show, hold it like you get. It's great at investing you in the characters, which is what makes those big deaths, because that's what the series is famous for, so
Mm.
impactful. But the fact is, in the TV show, they literally, in like I think it's the ninth season, the 10th season, they literally airlift one of the main characters out of the story. Literally airlifting them. This is 100% real. This is, I'm sure that everyone's heard about it at this point. Everyone knows. Rick Grimes, the main
Mm.
character, the symbol of hope in the post-apocalyptic world, is lifted out of the story. And I'm like into that. I've just finished, or I'm about done with that season where that happens. Holy shit, does it get stupid after that? Because the comic book does this big time jump, and it's like an older version of Rick. And Rick is having to deal with all these crazy things that are happening. But without Rick, and you do that big time jump, the show makes almost no sense. Characters aren't there for like 20 episodes, they're just gone. But you're so invested in all the characters, you're like, well, what's going to happen to them? What's happening to this guy? Where's this guy going? And they still have those big moments, but it gets borderline like soap opera. It gets that big and
Yeah.
dramatic, which is why I say like the first, fuck it, I'm probably in the minority that thinks the first 7 seasons are worth watching, just for like
Mm.
Negan and the governor and Alexandria and setting all that up. But after that, oh my god, you'll want to watch it, and you probably will watch it if you've made it that far. But it's shocking when you compare it to the comic books. It's just shockingly different.
Yeah. Well, that sucks.
Yeah, it's something else. But hey, I'm
I should probably.
enjoying my, as much as I think it's goofy and stupid. Like, I think I told you about one of the plot lines. I won't go into too much detail, but one of the plot lines of like that, like, there's
Yes,
plenty
you
of
did.
lines that can connect with like these
You did.
kids, and
Yeah.
none of it connects because there's magic in that comic book where they have a moment like that, and it's so perfect and it frames that whole world. And they try to do that again in the season 10. Oh my god, it's embarrassingly bad. But watch The Walking Dead. I still, maybe you'll be like me and enjoy it.
Kind of. Yeah. It's weird. I'm like trying to think of shows that actually like stayed good throughout their entire run. There really aren't many.
That like go
Like
full way through and good.
almost almost every TV show, like first few seasons are good and then eventually it'll dip down. There aren't that many that stay good or get better. I mean,
Breaking
Breaking Bad,
Bad, Bojack
Bojack
Horseman.
Horseman.
Yeah. Seinfeld.
Okay, I haven't seen Seinfeld.
Seinfeld's a very, I don't know how much you would enjoy Seinfeld. I'm not actually sure.
Okay,
I
but
think structure wise it's sound, but it's a sitcom. I don't know.
yeah, sitcoms can be a bit touch and
I
go.
never. Oh, Curb Your Enthusiasm. Oh my god, that show.
Okay.
It's Larry David. He did Seinfeld basically, but it's just constantly getting better and funnier. He's nailed that
Fleabag.
structure.
I'll say Fleabag, although there's only 2 seasons, like each episode is flawless. I can't recommend Fleabag enough. Watch Fleabag,
How
please.
about? Nope, that's about it.
I
Is there anything
see. I'd
else?
say I know. I'd say maybe Peaky Blinders, but I think it does go slightly downhill. No season's bad, but Peaky Blinders is very much like the character has a massive arc, So you kind of, I don't want to spoil it 'cause I'm pretty sure you've mentioned that you kind of want to watch it at some
Yeah,
point.
a little bit.
Yeah. It's like super good and I'd highly recommend it to everyone. But the character has an arc. So Tommy Shelby in season 1 is nowhere near Tommy Shelby in season 3. So you kind of have your personal preference of like which era of Tommy you prefer. So like I prefer early Tommy Shelby. I just think he's a more interesting character earlier on. But I'm sure there's people who are on the flip side who are like, no, I like season 4 Tommy, I like season 5. So that's one that I'm kind of like, I think that's good all the way through, but personal preference also plays into that one
Yeah.
a little bit.
I like Star Trek. Next Generation. Oh shit, Babylon 5. Sci-fi,
Uh,
any episodic sci-fi stuff to me. There's something about it cuz you'll get like a bad episode every once in a bit with those shows, but
mm,
they're so like I don't know. I feel like Babylon 5 and like Star Trek specifically, like those TV shows, those ones from like 2000 and before, because I think the ones that
mm,
are out now kind of suck. But they're just like so. It's just people that really like sci-fi is what it feels like. Especially because I think
yeah,
Babylon 5, like one guy wrote an entire season of it just by himself. And so it's just people who love that stuff. So it's kind of hard to be like, oh, this sucks because it's like, it's really wholesome sci-fi fun. If you like
yeah.
sci-fi, I recommend both of those. They're good fun.
Can we think of any others?
As far as perfect runs go, I mean,
There aren't many, are there?
Better Call Saul isn't finished, but I've loved Better Call Saul feels like like the peak like Vince Gilligan was just getting better as Breaking Bad went on. Now
That's what
Better
I've
Call
heard.
Saul, it's just constantly at that peak. I love every episode of Better Call Saul. It's so good.
There's like one or two episodes of Breaking Bad that don't really like, but I wouldn't say they're bad. I'm not as much of a fan of them.
What's your least favorite episode of Breaking Bad?
The Fly episode.
Oh, I love that episode.
It's I think it's just one of these episodes where it was like at the end of it, I was like, what did I just watch? I don't know. I
He's breaking down. He's fearful, and he has to control the one thing he can control: the fly in
it's
his lab.
flying is layer.
It's all
What's your
symbolism.
favorite episode? It's a good
Well,
one.
wait, your favorite? What's your favorite episode? Because I'll do my least favorite and favorite. But you
Okay,
tell me your favorite.
favorite is Ozymandias.
Okay, fair enough.
Am
It's a
I allowed
very
that
good
one?
episode.
Yeah,
Um,
it's. I think it's two before the final one or something.
I think so.
It's. I think it's a lot of people's favorite. It's the one for people who don't. I'm not going to spoil it, but for people who are thinking, I don't know the episode titles, but I've seen the series. It's the one that starts in the desert after a shootout, and it's Walt um dealing with the repercussions of that shootout and going home and dealing with everything that happened.
It's a very
Try
good
not to spoil
episode.
it, but it's a very good episode. It's like I'm pretty sure it's the last one before he. I'm really trying hard not to spoil it.
Not another word, Huddlestone.
No, no, wait. Okay, you go. Your
I
least favorite and
think
favorite.
my least favorite is I don't remember what episode this is, but let me Google it real
Describe it.
quick.
Google or describe. Because that's the thing. I think people who like Breaking Bad, a lot of them really do pay attention to the episode titles and stuff. They remember the episodes.
Where is I'm gonna find out what episode. It's an episode that made me horribly uncomfortable. It's the one where
Mm.
shit, hold on. It's the one where
You could
Walt walks in. It's season
you
one,
could
I think.
You can describe it to me, and then I can find it, and you can beep out the description. Then we can talk about it if you
It's the
want.
one, the only thing I remember about the episode, because the rest of it was so boring, where Walt fucks Skylar against the fridge. She's got like the green face goop on.
Oh shit! Yeah, he almost like rapes her, doesn't he?
Yeah, like that episode was just like, oh god.
It's like even the bad episodes, there's always a point to them. It's like that Fly episode. I don't like it because it's just so bizarre and weird and kind of, but it's not pointless. None of them are pointless. Well done, Breaking Bad.
Well done, Breaking Bad. I don't know how much of that's gonna stay in, but
Ah,
yay,
yay, Breaking Bad.
yay, Breaking Bad. That's all that matters. Oh, as for
Yeah.
my favorite episode, don't remember the episode. Oh, actually, I'll just say what it is. Yeah, my favorite character. It's his last episode.
Wait, can I guess your favorite character?
Yes,
Mike.
yes. At least in this,
Yeah.
because my favorite character is probably Saul Goodman, because I love Bob
Mm,
Odenkirk. But you know, for the sake of Breaking Bad, Mike is my favorite character. But
Mike
for
is
but Saul
incredible.
Goodman and Bob Odenkirk, oh my god, he is so good. Also, he's in Tim and Eric's awesome show. Great job.
Yeah.
So watch that.
So, season 5, episode 7
There you go.
I think is the episode you're talking about, and it's Say My Name. I think is that literally the same episode where he has the speech?
Say my name. You're
Yeah,
Heisenberg.
damn right.
You're goddamn right. I'm Heisenberg. Jesse. Jesse, they know I'm Heisenberg.
You're making me want to rewatch.
I did. I should say during this quarantine, I got to. Let's see what episode of Breaking Bad I'm on. Let's go over to
Okay,
my Netflix real quick.
I also have another Breaking Bad question.
I'm on
Um,
season 4, episode 8. I'm almost.
oh my God, you're nearly there.
I watched a lot of Breaking
Over
Bad.
halfway through. Okay, my next question, and this will be spoilery. So if you for
Spoilers
anyone,
for Breaking Bad.
yeah, spoilers. What was your favorite twist? Because Breaking Bad, a lot of people talk about like the drama and the characters and stuff, and they forget that there's quite a lot of like major twists in it and like reveals and stuff. What was your favorite?
Uh, hmm. All I can think about, because I'm watching The Walking Dead now.
Mm.
They in that newest season they had a really good twist, and that's all I can fucking think about now because that left
But
my
how
brain.
like how you mine and then list some of the other twists that I particularly like.
I really like the part where I don't think this counts as a twist, but where Walt's at gunpoint, Mike's got him, and he's like, "It's over, Walt," and he's like, I can give you Jesse Pinkman," and he's on the phone with Jesse, and he tells Jesse to go kill, uh, what's his name? Oh my God, not Gail Bedecker.
Oh yeah.
That part when he goes, "Your boss is gonna need me," like that part. I don't know if that counts as a twist, but I love it. Or the fucking part
Kind of
where,
does.
is it a twist to find out Gus poisoned himself? In that one episode to kill
Yeah.
the
I think
cartel.
so.
Does that count? I
Yeah.
love that part. It's just a great show in general.
It was a great show. I love the reveal that Walt was the one that poisoned Brock.
That was good.
That was very good. Realizing, is it season 2, the plane crash, where like certain episodes start with the
Yeah.
like black and white, like the reveal of what that actually was.
Oh yeah, I remember when I first saw it because I went into the show. I go into most things completely blind.
Yeah.
I had no clue. I
So
had
like to
no idea.
realize what you were watching. Or what?
I like the part where Walt Jr. gets his head blown off by
Mm,
Gus.
yeah, that was good. That's really good.
I like that part. I mean, it was funny more than anything else.
Yeah.
Part where Skylar fucks Ted, and she goes, "I fuck Ted." Can we?
Yeah.
Skylar as a character,
Yeah. That's
she
interesting debate.
because there's part of me that's like, that's probably like you wouldn't know what to do. Your brain's breaking down. Such an extreme situation, but she's like so bad at taking action with things. Like she takes no
Yeah.
action whatsoever, and that just like you feel like she would, and that's what makes her so frustrating. Is that it's like she just yeah all the time. Just yeah, it's like all perfectly fair stuff. Your husband's a drug dealer, and he's
Yeah.
keeping it from you. It's just blah blah blah. But she holds like all the cards.
I
She could
love
go and
people's breakdown. I've seen some great like video essays on Skylar. Highly recommend you watch them, even if you don't like Skylar as a character, because they like break down like, okay, why do so many people hate Skylar? Because she's not a villain. She doesn't kill anyone. She's nowhere near as bad as Walt, and yet we root for him and not for Skylar. And yeah, she's annoying, but it's like, why is she annoying? I don't even.
why
She
yeah
just.
why is
Why is
every other
she
character
annoying?
in the show, literally every other character, charming in some way, from Tuco to Gail to
Yeah,
Skinny Pete to fucking Badger, all these characters, hell, even the fucking gray matter technology guys, like they all
yeah.
have some amount of character to
Something
them
about them.
that makes you like them and be like, okay, I understand where you're coming from. Hell, even fucking what's his name, Ted,
Todd,
and the guy that tortured Jesse, David,
Todd,
Todd,
David,
David,
Todd, David, Todd,
David Todd.
whatever his name.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Todd. All those characters I can find something to like about and relate to or just like understand them as a character. Not so much with Skylar.
No,
There's something
she's,
about her.
and you can't even argue that it's like, oh, we root for Walt, so we don't root for Skylar because she's trying to stop Walt. Because
I root for
Hank,
Hank, yeah. Oh
Hank
God, was I
constantly
rooting
tries
for
to
Hank.
stop, and I love Hank. She's
She's just an annoying bitch. No, that's not true. That's a
I
quote
think
from the show.
she's an annoying
Yeah,
bitch.
R.J. Mitty, Walt Jr. walks up and goes, "Stop being such a bitch."
Yeah,
I was gonna do the voice, but I don't know if that's offensive or not. To do
probably
the
a little bit,
Have
yeah.
you seen the guy? My brother was showing me this. My brother Tim. He found a guy that has like a perfect Walt Jr. impression.
Oh,
I'm sure like he's just there's a list of quotes to like test how good your impression is. I'll see if I can find it and put it in general. It's so funny. It's amazing.
a bit.
Oh, that's all I had. That's all I had to say. I wish they had done something more with his character. Like made him see his
Quite a
dad.
lot.
Maybe he tries to buy meth.
Well, no, because Hank warns him off, doesn't he? Hank warns him off anything like that because he
Maybe
takes him
Hank
to go and
shoots
see that
him.
prostitute and
That's right, take him to Wendy.
yeah. Because
And
I
Wendy
really,
has
really like.
stormy eyes. And Wendy has wings to fly.
I really like in. I think it is in Ozymandias, isn't it? When we're still in spoiler territory, right? We can spoiler talk.
We're all good. This whole
Um,
back half.
oh, good. When Walt goes back and it's like Hank's died and he's like, we gotta get the things together, we gotta get the things, and Skylar works out that Hank is dead and she's like, you killed him, and he's like, no, I didn't, I tried to save him, and they like have that fight where she like grabs the knife and then Walt Jr. like stands in between them, and Walt has that moment where he breaks down like, I'm doing this for our family, and they're like on the floor terrified of him. I loved that so
That
much.
is a fantastic part. But that's the thing too, is that's like probably Skylar's best moment as a character is finally when she becomes assertive. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's the fact that she acts so high and mighty while not
But she
doing
doesn't
anything.
stand up.
Yeah. She's like
Yeah,
scolding Walt left and right, but she does fuck all to like stop him or to turn him in or to protect anyone other than just like,
doesn't have much of a backbone,
yeah.
and that's yeah, that's really yeah. Maybe that is it. And as well, I think she never really redeems herself for being, quite frankly, a terrible human being in the first episode. Like when she gives Walt the like veggie bacon and then she's like giving him a hand job under the bed and she like stops because she's so happy that she won on like bingo or whatever it was. Like she's just a bit of a shitty person in the first episode and she never really like redeems herself from that. If you know what I mean?
Yeah, she seemed like, I don't know.
She's like shitty in the way that like we all know people like that.
That just like aren't all there, kind
That
of.
aren't
Because
really
I
all
don't know, I never
there.
really got the vibe of her being a shitty person in that first episode. I always got the vibe that was like she was slightly preoccupied with like other, because she's like trying to write a book, which is something they completely drop. Like season, when season 3 comes around, she's no longer reselling stuff on eBay, which I thought was interesting because I think that's what she's doing when she's giving Walt a hand job while she's trying to either bid on
Oh,
something
she's
or sell
bidding on
something.
something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that. But it's
See,
like,
I always got the vibe that she was like maybe a shitty person is the wrong way to say it, but like I think we all know people like that who act really high and mighty, who think they're better than you because they're eating veggie bacon and like don't really care about too much other than themselves and think they're all completely perfect, even though like if anyone were to just slap them around the face, they'd realize that they're not perfect. Like, do you know what I mean? Those
yeah,
kind of people,
I think,
the
I
ones that
think,
rub you up the wrong way.
I think deep down you're just upset she didn't give Walt real bacon in that first episode. Maybe that would have changed the
I
course of
am.
things.
I really am. You know, if she had, I would have liked her so much better. Yeah,
What a great
yeah, maybe
show! I love reminiscing on Breaking Bad because I'm like thinking at the same
that was.
time because I'm honestly kind of shocked with how some of these other shows I've seen have turned out. Like it's
Mm.
so weird because even BoJack, for how good BoJack is, BoJack got cut down. It was supposed to have like I don't know how many more seasons, but it was supposed to go past season 6, and it got cut
Yeah,
short.
well, Raphael, the writer, because I've watched a shit ton of interviews. Um,
Wonderful
literally, it's what
fella.
my yes, wonderful. It's literally it was what my dissertation was on. I did BoJack and Rick and Morty, so I've like watched the shit out of those programs and all the interviews and stuff. Basically, he said to Netflix like, okay, if you ever do want to cancel us, like before we're ready, please can you just give me a heads up? Like, can you let me know so I can at least end the show properly? And it's before season 6 they were like, okay, we're renewing you, but you know how you said you wanted a warning, like this is your warning, this is your last season. So I think they felt like they had, I think they said they felt like they had like 2 or 3 seasons more worth that they wanted to do, and they kind of had to cram all of that into one season or like cut some bits out and stuff. So season 6 is kind of like, I don't think it feels rushed.
And some parts, a little bit. But that's the
I,
thing too, is that it's like a little because I feel like structure wise,
yeah.
arc wise, I think it's fantastic. But I feel like
Oh
that
yeah.
change does
Yeah.
happen really
There
quickly.
is, yeah, I feel like it's not rushed, but the show has previously taken so long to like go over things, and previously it like really took its time, that it almost went to like a normal paced show where quite a lot happens in an episode, whereas in BoJack previously, like sometimes you'd have an episode completely dedicated to side characters where basically nothing happens for BoJack. And then in season 6 it's like, Okay, we know we need to get somewhere, so we can't take those tangents as
That
much
is
as they
one
used to.
fantastic thing about season 6 of BoJack, because there's maybe 3 or 4 episodes. There's like the kidney episode with Todd. Good God,
Yeah.
we're gonna label this episode "Spoilers Ahead." That's the title of this episode.
Maybe reminiscing. Spoilers ahead.
Spoilers
Warning.
ahead, man, oh man. But yeah, well, because I was looking today at it, at like the IMDb scores, because I'm still curious. That second to last episode, The View from Halfway Down,
Yeah.
it's still like it's at like a 9.9 or something.
It, that is. I don't know if that's my favorite episode or Free Churro.
Free Churro's my favorite. I think that
Love
episode
Free
is
Churro.
I think it's better just from like a performance standpoint with Will Arnett, but that episode of The View from Halfway Down, what a perfect like it's like the romanticized ending of BoJack, and then the next episode is the ending of BoJack. It's so
It's
fucking
like
perfect.
it's like how like Bojack says earlier on, it's like in a sitcom or in a TV show, there's the happily ever after, where it's in real life, there's the day after the happily ever after.
Yeah,
And the show's always tried to do that. It like has its happily ever after, and then but it carries on because life carries on.
yeah,
So it's like a view from halfway down is the and Bojack dies and it's really sad and he never has to deal with the consequences of his actions because he's dead and everyone wants him, and it's like no, he survives and he has to go to jail and he has to deal with the things he's done and the regret and the fact that a lot of people leave him because yeah, that you would leave him. Or I think I definitely would. I'd leave that friendship behind. I think I'd do what Diane did.
that's
God,
one
that
thing
show's
too with that show. Holy yeah, go watch BoJack, everybody.
so much
It's
Bojack, yeah.
great. It deals great with consequences, character relationships, and when things get bad, when you're like, how are these two characters still interacting? They don't interact anymore. Like when they
Yeah, Holly,
grow,
it's like Hollyhock.
yeah.
She
When oh
she
my
sends him a
god,
letter. She's like, I'm done. And you don't see her again. You don't hear about her. Nothing. It's
she's just
like
out of the narrative completely.
because yeah, why wouldn't you be? If you did think those things, yeah, you'd leave. It's so good, and
So good.
I love Diane's speech at the end on the rooftop where she's like,
Yeah.
some people are meant to be in your life for forever, and that's lovely. And a lot of people aren't. A lot of people are just meant to be in your life for a certain period of time. They make you who you're supposed to become, and then they leave. And that's okay as well. And that like hit home so much. I thought it was so good. Because it's something that not a lot of people talk about. Like in a lot of TV shows, it's and they all lived happily ever after, and the friends we had at school are going to be the friends that
Yeah,
we
that's not
have on
how
our
it
deathbed.
works.
And
it's
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 not in
never
life.
been how it works.
So,
Oh man. You know what? You know
it,
what would have really helped BoJack though? One thing I was kind of hoping for,
oh,
if they got to season 6, episode 3, and then a helicopter came and airlifted BoJack out of the story, and then the show just went on, and
I mean, it
everyone.
probably would have made him feel a lot better.
But he's gone. They're like, we'll do 3 Bojack Horseman movies later down the line.
It'll be great. It'll be fine.
That's essentially what they did in The Walking Dead. They took BoJack and Walter White out of the show. Could you
Uh,
imagine? Could you imagine? Do
no,
you realize how fucking holy god? That's how it's supposed to be. God damn it! That show is infuriating. Oh my god!
well,
Airlift me out of this narrative. Oh, I get a helicopter. He
oh,
literally just gets put in a helicopter and flown away out of the story.
that's so stupid.
I haven't seen the new season. I don't know if he's back or not. I want him to be back because the ending of that comic book is so fucking good.
Okay, are you gonna watch Game of Thrones at any point?
Probably not.
Th-
No.
Any chance? Can I spoil something for you?
Go for it.
Because something I think equally, well, two things equally stupid happen in season 8 of Game of Thrones. The whole of season 8 is stupid, but there's a big fight, and It's like the fight that the entire show has been leading up to. The
Okay.
the killing of the White Walkers. The big threat, the threat that's supposed to be worse than anything in humanity. It's like everyone who has died is on the Night King's side, and then you have the living. It's you have two dragons, they have a turned dragon. It's this massive fight, and there's a whole fucking episode literally dedicated to the characters talking to one another and saying goodbye because they're like, we're not going to survive this. If we win, maybe a handful of us will, but we're not going to survive this. Not everyone is getting out of here alive. And Tyrion even makes a joke. I'm sure it's Tyrion who's like, well, sure we're all gonna live, and they all laugh. And they all fucking live.
Huh.
This is a show that has killed off so many of its main characters, and like maybe two side characters die, like pretty insignificant side characters, and like all the main characters live somehow. It's so fucking stupid. That's the first fucking stupid thing.
That's pretty
The next
bad.
It's pretty bad, right? The next stupid thing is my least favorite thing, I think, in the whole of Game of Thrones. Like worse than Daenerys, worse than Jon Snow, worse than who ends up on the Iron Throne because that's stupid. But it's Jaime Lannister's character. They assassinate his character arc because basically he starts off like he pushes a child. Literally, the first episode ends with him pushing a young child out of a window to his death because the child saw him having sex with his own sister.
Ah, God.
Yeah,
That's
so
way worse than The Walking Dead.
that's kind of that's where his character starts. He has sex with his sister. He's an asshole. Everyone knows he's an asshole. And then they spend the entire show really building his character, and you find out things like um how he killed the king, and everyone calls him like the Kingslayer, and they've like written him out of history because he killed the king, when in actuality he killed the king because the king was going to massacre all of his people. So Jamie saved everyone, and he willingly gave up like all of his honor, everything, to save everyone. He never gets a thanks for it. And there's like a moment where he has that and he tells someone that, and it's like really vulnerable. He loses his hand, the hand that he fights with. And it's like he has this big moment of what am I if I can't fight because I gave up everything to like be a fighter to to protect the king, and now I can't do that, and if I can't do that then what am I?
Hold that thought for 1 second.
Okay.
Hold that because I have something I need to say to that. One of my cats is fucking freaking out. One second.
She knows, or he knows. Feel the anger. Sarah kitty. Kitten, come and join us, kitten. How do I feel it? Oh, it's a cat. Oh my God. Hi, kitty.
She was losing her shit. I don't know what about.
She wanted to hear. She wanted to hear all about Jamie,
I
obviously.
guess so. There you go, Bailey.
But like, um, and so all of the Queen's kids, his sister's kids, are his, and he can't act like a father to them because if he did, everyone would know that they were incestuous kids and not in line for the throne, yada yada yada. So he has to deal with like knowing that his children will never know that he's their dad. And like you get this really incredible arc of him like admitting these things and learning to be vulnerable and learning to fight again and making new friends, and like it gets to a moment where he realizes that he doesn't actually want to be with his sister. Like ignore all the incest. It's weird, but you kind of have to ignore it. Um he realizes that his sister is actually not a good person and he can survive on his own and he doesn't have to be at her beck and call and he can have a life outside of her. And he like goes off and it's incredible and everyone's like, this is amazing. Like Jamie's learning to stand on his own 2 feet and he's like, yay, go Jamie, you're brilliant. He's such a good character. I need to see a cat tail like every so
She is
often.
she's losing her shit. I don't know what her deal is, but she's just kind
Um,
of snuggling up here.
Bless her. Um, and then literally in the episode I was talking about where they're all like, oh, that's it. His sister says like, oh, I'm not gonna help them fight against the army of the dead. And James like, are you kidding me? We need to help. And she's like, nah, nah. If any of them survive, then we're easily gonna beat him. No one's gonna take my throne. It's gonna be great. So Jamie leaves her to go and fight against the army of the dead. And there's on that episode where they're all like saying their goodbyes, he finally is with Brienne, who it's pretty clear that they've had a thing going on for a while. And he knights her because she wasn't allowed to be a knight before because she was a woman. And he's like, I don't care, I'm gonna knight you anyway, because you're by far worthy of it. And it's like such a good character arc. And then, no word of a lie, he does a complete 180 for no fucking reason. After they've fought, he's like, I'm gonna go be with Cersei because I belong with Cersei, his sister.
What?
And everyone was like, it was like at the end of an episode, so people are like, this is a double bluff. He says he's gonna go with and be with her, but what he's actually gonna do is he's gonna go and kill her. And people were like, maybe that's it. So there was a week where people were like, he's not actually leaving. His character hasn't done a complete 180 back to the beginning. He is he's gonna go and kill his sister. He doesn't. He returns to her. They run underground when they're being attacked. I shit you not. The ceiling falls down and kills them both. That's it.
That makes no fucking sense.
Like, and it's so ridiculous. Like their other brother comes in and like has that like soap opera thing of like pulling down the bricks, and you see Jamie's like golden hand, like the one he had um on top of his amputated wrist, and he like sobs over them, and then it cuts out to like a wider shot with the big pile of bricks from like where the ceiling caved in and like 2 feet away from them where none of the ceiling caved in. So basically if they'd have stood like a couple of steps left they would have survived or something.
Oh my god.
It's so bad, it's untrue. Like his character does, and there's no reason for him to go back to Cersei, his sister. They give no reason other than Jamie says, "No, I belong with her." No, you've just had 7 seasons of explaining why you don't belong with her and becoming your own person, and then they're like, "Nah."
That is okay. Yeah, Walking Dead's never gotten that bad. It's
It's and that is one thing wrong with season 8.
that is fucking crazy. Because I don't think Walking Dead has ever betrayed its characters. Because that's like its one strength is like
Yeah,
despite how dumb the situations they get put into are, those characters are still like lovable and you have this tight bond with them. And so you want to see what happens and you don't want them to die. But I feel like that's the difference. That's the change. That's what makes it so you can keep watching The Walking Dead versus Game of
yeah,
Thrones because their characters are at least consistent. They may be going and getting into ridiculous, like there's 80,000 groups of bad guys for some reason, all in this one state. None of them are friendly. They're all trying to kill you. The world is horrible. It's miserable. But at least the characters, despite that like really repetitious situation, they're the same characters and they're growing as time goes along.
yeah. And that's why I'm saying I think Game of Thrones season 8, it's like everyone but the writers did a pretty darn good job. But the writers very obviously like were told by George R. R. Martin like, okay, this is where I'm planning on these characters ending up. And so everything they built to make these characters really true and really fleshed out, they just flushed down the drain because George R. R. Martin said that 3 books down the line, this is where he wants the characters to end up. So they did that in a season. And
Oof.
you can't even, yeah, you can't even blame it on like HBO or anyone like that because they offered them way more seasons. They offered them longer seasons. And it was D&D who Dumb and Dumber who went like, no, 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 we can do it in like whatever it was, 6 episodes, I think.
Oh my god.
So it wasn't even like a budget problem. It wasn't, higher ups in a studio telling them to wrap things up. It wasn't actors being difficult. It was nothing other than they couldn't be bothered to continue the show anymore. They didn't want to give these characters the time and attention anymore. So they just flushed away like years of development for spectacle. And it's not a good spectacle because anyone who thinks Game of Thrones is good because of the spectacle clearly doesn't understand Game of Thrones. It was good because the characters were good.
Yeah.
And they just threw it all away.
Welp, Game of Thrones, I'm officially saying, is worse than The Walking Dead, but hey, Walking Dead still has a little bit of time to take that title. They have, I'm honestly a little worried now after hearing about this Game of Thrones stuff because I can see they've given Walking Dead plenty of time. They're taking it, they're doing what they want with it. But it's drastically different. That might be because Game of Thrones too, it's not done yet. The books aren't done, are they?
No,
Okay.
that's they ran out of source material, and that's where the problem started. Because they were so heavily reliant on the source material for getting that beat for beat like character arc that suddenly they didn't have that source material and they just had these guidelines. They weren't good enough writers to take those characters where they needed to be.
Right.
They were purely good at adapting what they've read over and over again and terrible at coming up with anything on their own, which
Yeah.
is why, yeah.
I'm looking up
So
something real quick.
yeah, that's fine. I mean, there was plenty of other dumb stuff, like the dragon, instead of burning down and killing the guy who stabbed their mother, instead burns down the Iron Throne because apparently dragons understand symbolism.
Dragons
Apparently.
understand symbolism.
Oh, in Game of Thrones they do, yeah. Yeah. And the kid that ends up on the Iron Throne is no word of a lie the worst character ever. And the whole argument they give for why he needs to be on the throne is that he has the best story of them all. No, he fucking doesn't. And this is what the world needs, stories. No, they fucking don't. It's so bad. And like I swear, one of the characters um suggests like democracy and they all laugh at him.
Why,
And
why is it
it's like,
so? It's like unapologetically stupid. I don't even know what to
oh
make of
yeah,
that.
I like again, I could list like thousands of other things where like you could probably watch season 8 of that show and every 30 seconds you could point out something that doesn't make sense. It is that bad. It is ridiculous.
So I will say I was a little preoccupied during our wrap up there because I wanted to check
That's fine.
because The
Go on.
Walking Dead took a serious dip in quality
Mm-hmm.
with the release of season 9. Now,
Yeah.
season 9 came out October, the first episode, I think it's saying, October 6th, 2019. And
Hmm.
then it ended sometime in April. Whatever, doesn't matter. August came or April the next 2 years. Fuck it, whatever. New season started August of this year. Season 9, all right, back in 2018, season 10, those two, that's where the show's really starting to suck. The comic book ended in 2019. But here's the thing, the show had been keeping up with the comic at an all right pace. Not like it's
Mm.
not like day and day. The comic's always been a bit ahead. That if that makes sense. It kind of lines up perfectly. So despite the show fucking up in some areas and taking some creative liberties and having characters that aren't even in the comic, they're kind of able to get the gist of it. But something happened. I think it was the main character, Rick, wanting to leave the show. I think that's what fucked it. I think they have the material, but they don't have the physical people anymore to do it because it's taken
Oh,
so long. So it's a difference. So I'm still hopeful. I nearly had a heart attack. I was like, oh my God, they still have the potential to completely fuck up all these characters. Because there's still maybe 5 characters in this whole show
yeah,
people care about. And you want a happy ending for them. You want a satisfying ending. And I think it's possible, fingers crossed. But the
hopeful for
chances
you.
of getting that good ending from the comic books, literally impossible. There's no way you could do the same thing. But hey, maybe you can do something different and just as good.
Maybe,
Probably
hopefully.
not. Probably not.
I mean, after Game of Thrones, I feel like if something ends decently okay, I'm like overjoyed. I'm like, you didn't fuck it up completely. Thank you.
I'm
Oh my
I'm
goodness.
I'm really hoping they can pull off this ending with The Walking Dead. I know it won't be as good as the comic, but if they can't pull this off after 11 seasons, like you talk about fucking it up after 8 seasons with Game of Thrones. If you get
Yeah.
11 seasons and you didn't run out of source material and you still fuck it up, because
Oh dear.
they've fucked up a good bit of stuff with this the most recent season I've watched. Maybe people shouldn't watch it. Maybe I shouldn't be recommending this. Now that I'm
Maybe
thinking
you should
back on it,
recommend it as like a casual thing, like not something to get super invested in. Like I would recommend BoJack or Breaking Bad as a show to get invested in, but like I would recommend, say, House. I really love House. MD, I think is its full title. The
I
one
think
with Hugh
I think
Laurie.
it's just House over here.
House. Um, I would recommend that as something to like it's great and please enjoy it because I love all of it. I've seen every episode, but I would say like that gets really repetitive. So that's more something I would say like watch it, but maybe like be on your phone at the same time, be playing on your Switch or whatever. Like it's more one of those shows where I'd say like watch it, and if a certain episode is really appealing to you, please give it all your attention. But if you're finding one in particular really repetitive, like yeah, you can piss about on your phone and or whatever, play a video game, and it's not gonna ruin everything.
Yeah, I'd say same with The Walking Dead. Watch
Yeah.
it while you're doing something else. Once you get past, let me see here.
Once you know what's going on.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Once you're okay, watch the show regularly until you are done with season 4. Then
Yeah.
watch it while playing a video game. Then after season 5 is done, season 6, watch it regularly. Season 7, watch the first 3 episodes regularly and then like take a shower while watching the other episodes. Because it's so fucking slow.
Yeah.
Then season 8 picks up. Watch the last 3 episodes of season 7. Watch the
Okay.
first 3 of season 8, the middle 4 of season 8, and then the last 3 of season 8. Everything
Okay.
else in that season is so slow and boring. Then when season 9 kicks off, Watch the first half
Uh-huh.
religiously. It's great fun. The second
Mm.
half, just kind of keep it on the background. It's just setting the stage for the next season. Then watch the first 2 episodes. Shit, I guess it would just be the first 2 episodes of season 10.
Mhm. Well, if you're partway through watching season 10, maybe don't give a
There's 3 episodes left in season 10 I have. Or wait,
yeah, but
let me.
you don't know what's gonna become important, so maybe don't give a recommendation for season 10 yet. So in
Well,
my
I've
house
I've
we have
I've finished the comic, so I know it's
oh
important and
okay,
not.
yeah.
But that's the thing. Season 10 is the worst of the entire show.
Oh
It's
dear.
it's horrible. They spend way too much time. There's the whole point. There's a group called the Whisperers, whatever. The whole bit in the comic book is that they're like these crazy people. They wear human skin. They're fucking bonkers. And the joke is kind of in the comic they go out with a whisper because they're so fucking crazy they can't survive in that world. That's the whole point in the comic book. That
Yeah.
point is made at the end of season 9 or at the start of season 10 even.
Mm.
Everything they're just dragging it out after that. They have nothing else. Cuz they know after the Whisperers the show moves into the final act. It's done.
Yeah.
So season 10, I can't even recommend you should watch season 10. It's that bad. It's
I
that
guess
that bad.
what you can be is season 11 the final season.
Huh?
Is season 11 the final season?
It is, yeah.
I guess we could kind of be hopeful then that they're dragging on season 10 and making this bit last so they have enough content to make season 11 good.
Well, so I know, having finished the comic book and having seen most of the stuff on season 11, it seems like what they're doing is, because I haven't seen it yet,
Mm.
but the whole point of the zombie apocalypse is that you eventually get to a point where you shift from this crazy cool bashing zombie skulls world into basically Little House on the Prairie, where you're like, you have
Yeah.
your horses and wagons, you're wearing cowboy hats. I'm farming today.
Yeah.
What it seems like the direction they're going is it's going to be about like basic human preservation, but they keep introducing new threats. They keep on being
Mm.
like, this group's coming to get you. These guys are bad. And that's never been what The Walking Dead was about. It was never about all these different groups in this world and like trying to kill the one group that's like the good guys. It was about people coming together and surviving the apocalypse.
Yeah.
So I honestly don't know where I'm going with it. I'm interested to watch the end of season 10, what's released of season 11, but I'm honestly just fucking terrified they're going to ruin this. Because once you finish that, because I'm not kidding, once you finish that comic book, it's like Breaking Bad. They knew exactly what they had, how much time it would take, and then it was
Yeah.
over. And that was that. And this is like the polar opposite. Looking back at it right now, holy shit. It's completely, they milk this fucking thing.
Basically, what we're saying is if anyone out there writes TV shows, wants to write TV shows, know where you're going to end up.
Or
Have a plan.
you don't
Even if it's
even,
super vague,
yeah.
just like,
You
because I
don't,
think I think that's what Vince Gilligan had. I think he had a rough, this is a man that goes from teacher to Scarface. And even like not every point was pinned down, but he knew this is the arc, and once you get here, it ends.
yeah.
It doesn't have to be really specific, but like having some sort of like
It's your elevator pitch. Keep your
yeah,
elevator pitch only goes so far. Very few, if any, elevator pitches go for 11 seasons. I don't think any of
yeah,
them do. Because the whole point, the elevator pitch, of course, is chemistry teacher becomes Scarface. He's like this big, crazy
yeah,
drug dealer. and you get 5 tremendous seasons. The elevator pitch for The Walking Dead, small town sheriff bands together to survive a zombie apocalypse. It's like, it's probably not the
Yeah.
best elevator pitch, but it's like, okay, how much can you get with that? The comic book, 100 and something issues.
Yeah.
Seasons wise, I think you can only get, and I'm being 100% serious, we're at season 11. I think you can only get maybe 6 good seasons out of that
Yeah.
material. And that's the real infuriating thing with The Walking Dead. And I'm so glad I'm getting this out of the way now, that I'm getting this off my chest, because I've just been seething in my room during
Fine, go for it. I love
quarantine.
this. I love this
It's
sort of
when you have that good of material, when it's that good, and you've got it all laid out too. And keep in mind, The Walking Dead was fuck it. It was the first episode came out around issue 80, 90. I'm not 100% sure of the comic book, but they didn't have everything yet. They didn't have that full map. They were just going off of what they had, and that
Yeah.
foundation was perfect. But they had to wait a little bit for that material to come in. So at the same time, I get why they took it slow. I get why you had so many of these episodes that just hung around for way too long. But
Yeah.
oh my god, if they had just waited 4 years. If they had waited 4 years instead of starting in 2010, starting in 2014, I think this show would be 1,000 times better.
I think that's a big problem is that people will jump. Oh, I think my cat's going crazy now.
Oh, there you
Oh,
go. Yeah, what's mine up to? Mine's sitting by a pair of pants that are on the floor.
yeah,
This is
nothing
a
to watch.
this is a big hefty episode, but I feel like it has to be done.
Yeah, it's
This
nice. It's
has
fun.
to be covered. Well, oh fuck
I
yeah, it's
think
fun. Oh my god.
this is our jam, though. This is like what we do.
It's
This is
nice.
what.
There's something special when you see, because I haven't seen Game of Thrones
Yeah.
and you haven't seen The Walking Dead, but
No.
it's very clear we both have hard fucking beliefs on those two shows,
Yeah.
and we're
Yeah.
very passionate about it. But we have this weird common ground at the same time with BoJack and Breaking Bad, where we can see
Yeah.
those two shows as like
So you can
objectively.
compare them then. You can say like this is ridiculous and I can then pinpoint it to something we both know and then you can back and forth it.
Right.
Um oh that was people have this really bad habit of like they see something super successful and it's like mid-run and then everyone else dives onto it while it's still mid-run. People need to wait until the original thing has completed its run before they then go and adapt it into different things. Because otherwise you don't have
You don't
that
have that.
clear idea of the
Yeah.
arc. So how can you possibly make a story and adapt it when you don't even know half of what you're working
She spun you around with a little paw. No, I think that's people get too antsy because I mean we saw it with Hunger Games. I think.
with?
Let me double check. Hunger Games movie release.
I think the Hunger Games films came out just after the final book came out. I might be wrong, but the Hunger Games fell into that other problem that all films seem to be doing around that time, where they take a trilogy of books and make them into 4 films,
Okay,
and they
yeah,
like split the final book into 2 for whatever reason, even though it doesn't need to be done. I think they did it with Harry Potter, and granted, I haven't read the Harry Potter books,
yeah. I
but
don't
I'm
really
pretty
care about
sure.
Harry Potter.
No, neither do I. But I'm pretty sure a lot of people felt that that was necessary. And then because Harry Potter did it, all oh, okay, she's on. This is a bad idea.
She on the
And then
keyboard.
yeah, and then because Harry Potter did it, all these other people were like, "Oh, this is what we should do. We should split our final source material, whatever it is,
Yeah,
in into 2.
to really milk it, which is, I mean,
Yeah, to get
it
that
probably
dough.
goes back even further than that because I mean, well, I guess it doesn't. But you see, Lord of the Rings, you have that perfect trilogy. Those three
And then they
movies.
came in with the Hobbit.
Yeah. And then The Hobbit, they're like, we have one book. And they were like, okay, we did a trilogy the first time and that worked, but that's because there's 3 books.
Yeah.
let's try it again. And good God, so much is cut from those movies, those first Lord of the Rings movies, which is why I'm kind of excited for this new Amazon take on it,
Yeah.
because it is one of those stories that I would be okay with them like really chewing on things, like 10 episode
Mm.
seasons. There's 10 seasons. There's like an episode where they're literally just walking through the woods and they hear like an orc and they're like, we have to hide from it. And it's really not that action based. It's really like adventure and just scenic kind of thing. Because that's really what it was about. It's about the thrill of the adventure.
Yeah. I think I think the thing with a lot of TV shows and films, to be fair, is they don't often take the time to like have a breather. And it's what BoJack and Breaking Bad do really well, is they'll have episodes where it seems like not a lot's happening. Stuff is happening, but it doesn't feel like a lot's happening.
Yeah.
And sometimes you really need that.
It's
Like,
I just read something about it where they were like the best shows, movies, books are the ones that keep you guessing. It may have been a Tarantino thing. Someone in the comments, let us know what this is. But
yeah.
basically, they were saying you want your brain to constantly not know like what amount of time is left on that little timeline bar.
Yeah.
So it's like you want one episode to feel like 2 hours, and you want one episode to feel like 15 minutes. And it's like ideally, like, because people always think, wow, that episode flew by. Like every episode should be like that. It's like not always. Sometimes
No,
those episodes
sometimes
need to
you
really
need
take their
that.
time.
I think really bring it back to video games. I think was it Rasputin
From
who made it?
Psychonauts?
No, a YouTuber. I think his name's Ras. I call him Rasputin, but I don't even know if that's his name. I just call him that. That's weird. Um, his little icon. He does quite a lot of like video game content. His icon is like a paper bag face. He does some great stuff, and he has a video. I'm sure it's called like vibe checks in gaming or whatever. And it is literally about those moments, those take a breather moments in video games and how important they are. Like to have those areas where you just have a rest and think about like, okay, this is what I've played so far and I don't know how long's left, but this is how I feel about it. And like it's really important in TV shows too to like have those, especially now when like you binge watch everything, you don't have that week in between each episode to wait. It's like
Yeah.
really important to have something that makes you think about what you've watched because otherwise you do just rush through things. So like having episodes that like take a step back so you can go and really process like everything that's gone on and then it makes you appreciate everything that like comes after that.
Right. Well, that's the thing too. But with those episodes, I will say something still has to be going on. It's like it's a breather
Yeah,
episode, but it's not like there's still something there. This is something I think I talked about way back when, like January or February, when we first kicked off
yeah.
this channel. There was a gaming website that was giving out an award. They were like best game mechanic of the year, and I forget forget exactly what game it was. I forget what the publication was, but I remember this is 100% real. I'll see if I can find it actually real quick. Game. Oh, I spelled game wrong.
It's like how I said the Fly episode is my least favorite in Breaking Bad. I stand by that, but it's like something is still happening. That you still have this bizarre debate of them trying to get a fly out of the lab. But what the episode really comes down to is just an extended period of time where like you and the characters are thinking like this is where we're at and oh shit, this is where we're at. You know what I mean? Like you still have that like there's still something to watch and there's still great dialogue and there's still stuff you can chew over. But you're not necessarily progressing forward. It's more like expanding on what you've already got and like I'm essentially just rambling to fill the time now while Jacob finds whatever
I
he's
can't
looking
find.
for.
I don't. It was either Kotaku, Polygon, or one of those fucking websites.
One of those.
They gave game mechanic of the year, the best game mechanic I ever saw, someone was saying was, and I think it was in Life is Strange 2.
Right.
There's a bench in Life is
Mm.
Strange 2, I believe, or whatever game it was. And at this bench, you can sit down and you can think about what you've done while playing this game. And they wanted to say that was the best game mechanic of the year. And unless you're a fucking idiot, no, it's not. Do you know how easy it is to program a bench? Do you know how much joy you get from interacting with a bench? Probably zero. Which is why there's a difference between giving your audience time to breathe and being a pretentious buttfuck that puts a bench in your game and campaigns to say, hey, this bench is actually the smartest thing anyone's done all year. Fuck you, whoever posted that. I can't find it anywhere, which makes me think it
I
got taken
find it
down.
really briefly.
Oh God. It's so fucking embarrassing. I
Yeah,
thought it
I'm
was
not
Polygon
thinking.
or Kotaku. Bench. It's honestly it's mind-boggling.
Um,
Let me just try Life is Strange to bench. I don't know if this is gonna show up still.
I don't know.
Oh, is this it? The importance of
Yeah.
sitting in Life is Strange 2. Yeah, I think
There
this is
you
it. Yeah.
go.
Jesus Christ. Okay, I will say I haven't played through that first Life is Strange game yet. I remember watching someone do
Mm.
it. This is definitely a big factor into why I fucking hate them and I hate fucking Don't Nod, is because it seems like they do the bare minimum when it comes to anything that resembles a game, but they put a fair amount of work into that interactive movie aspect of things, which is
Yeah.
fine. But they act like they act like they don't know what they're doing. They act like they're on the same level as Nintendo or Double Fine or Naughty Dog or all these companies in terms of like gameplay and innovation. So
Mm.
they have their very simplistic, basically point and click adventure game, and they're trying to compare it to like platformers and RPGs and like actual games with gameplay as opposed to games with basic interaction like a make your own storybook. And it's from
Yeah.
the one I'm seeing here is from Engadget. Engadget. I guess it wasn't Polygon or Kotaku.
Mm.
Seems like something they would do. But this looks like what I was talking about. Sitting, allowing Shauna to identify moments of peace within themselves during a wild and depressing journey is essential to the pacing. Oh, God. Jesus Christ. Yeah,
Yeah.
the quote at the end is like, even more than in the first game, the sequel taps into real world scenarios and fears, and players need the space to quietly contemplate everything that's going on. Fuck you. Fuck, they made a bench. You think it's an innovation because they made a bench? Go fuck yourself. Engadget. I'm bookmarking this so I never forget it
Okay.
again.
Remember it.
What a
I
fucking
found
idiot.
I found the video I was talking about. His channel is Rasputin.
Oh, great.
Um,
Shouts out to Rasputin.
he's he's amazing. He does a lot of like video game breakdowns, but it's things like, okay, fixing Breath of the Wild's biggest problem, how small open world games feel big, what games are like for someone who doesn't play them, like stuff like this. He does a lot of really cool stuff. Um, and yeah, his vibe check one was like, obviously I'm skimming through it and trying to remember. I saw this like a little while ago, but he was talking about things like games that let you meditate, or like games where you have a camp and you can go back to your camp and you can just like sit by the fire for a bit, or like when a game will have like a little bit of a longer cutscene, like Red Dead 2 does it, where sometimes you get a longer cutscene of just Arthur riding his horse because something important has happened in the story. You might not realize it yet, but you need that bit of time and like to process what you've just seen and to remember it and things like that. Um, yeah, like I say, I don't remember. Oh, The Last of Us, that like giraffe scene where that's like a perfect example of a vibe check, like take a breath moment in a video game.
Yeah,
Like,
well, so all that stuff, I can agree with
yeah,
most of that because it's pacing related. Because you
yeah.
can't just bombard people with it. But if you're sitting there and you're saying like, oh, okay, Fallout 4, for instance, put like all these chairs and things you can sit on in places, and it's like the reason there's a chair in this room right after you find out a certain story element. If you say that's important, no, it's not.
Oh no, no,
It's
no.
part of the world. It's part of building the world. Like,
It's like I forget his exact word, and I definitely don't want to put words in his mouth, but my memory was it's something along the lines of like when a game is really, really hectic and it like forces the player to step back for pacing reasons, for for whatever it may be, like emotional reasons. And they do that in like a fun or an interesting way. It's not just like stop playing the game for a bit or whatever. It's like it forcibly makes you just have a second, like have a breather, check in an interesting way that's not stupid.
yeah,
I hope that makes sense.
it does.
Again,
It's pacing versus and it's taking the of a concrete thing in storytelling, which is pacing, and
yeah,
deciding to look at it as a technical aspect, as like something important, something that everything needs. It's like the best games have the best pacing, stuff like that,
or like
versus saying we created something that makes you actually feel what's going on in the game. What normal people would call pacing in storytelling, don't nod, and these idiots that see a bench in a video game would call artistic expression of letting you sit down and think about what this game is really trying to show you. It's called pacing. You
yeah,
stupid, stupid idiots. A bench is
yeah.
not a better gameplay system than being able to walk in any video game. Shut your mouth. That's like a 3-year-old article, too. I can't believe I'm still mad about that. I'm a fucking toddler. It's
I
just
can. They're
infuriating.
very useful. Uh, so yeah, Rasputin vibe checks in video games.
There you go.
He did another video recently that I really liked as well. Oh yeah, frustration as a feature. That was it. Frustration being a feature of video games. I'm pretty sure he talks about Red Dead 2 and The Last of Us 2, which is like my favorite game and like one of my least favorite games. So it was very strange for him to be like connecting the two. But he was talking about how like I, I don't want to like steal all of his stuff. Please go watch his videos. They're really, really
Check out
great.
Rasputin.
Yeah, seriously. But he was talking about like um how sometimes like he he talks about how he likes the Guarma section in Red Dead 2. He actually likes them for the same reasons that I do, that it's frustrating because it like takes you out of this story you've been really invested in and everything's pretty pointless and nothing really leads anywhere. But it's necessary because it makes you feel the frustration that like Arthur feels, and you need to understand that Dutch's plan just isn't going to work. It doesn't matter where they are, he's always going to find problems. And by taking you out of like the the main story and the main area for a bit, when you're brought back in, you appreciate it more.
I hate that section of that game. I
I know
think
you
it's
do.
I think it's irredeemable. Just
Okay, well,
because
literally half of his video is in defense of Guarma. So maybe he'll do a far better job of explaining it in the like 20 seconds I
Well,
did.
I'd
But he like,
say everyone go check out that video because I'll have
yeah,
to check it
literally.
out too because I've made myself
I'll
abundantly
link
clear.
it.
I think it's borderline like bad game design because of
Oh,
course as
yeah, I know you really hate it.
well, yeah, as a game developer, you think about like in the broadest of terms, it's like people are playing your game for what your game has to offer. For in the case of RDR2, it's like you have this open world, you can upgrade this, this, and this, you can hunt for this stuff, you can rob these places. There's all this stuff you can do. And then they introduce a portion of the game's story that takes all of that stuff away from you. And it's like, let's see if like and they're basically saying like enjoy it in this setting now. But you can't because you're missing a whole lot of the game. It's like stripping down the game to its less fun nuts and bolts. When like the bloat around
Yeah.
it, all that other stuff in the open world is what really drew you in. Because no one was playing Red Dead Redemption 2 because they're like, there's this chapter where you go to Guarma and you get a free help all these prisoners and it's so
It's
cool.
mango.
Yeah, you can find
Yeah.
mangoes and eat mangoes. Isn't that fun? That's like it's the
But that
least memorable part. It's the least fun part. It's the most convoluted part. It has the most inconsistencies because like Dutch is like murdering people, and you're like, what the fuck? Why is he doing that? But he's been doing that the whole time because you're outlaws. But now it's like becoming apparent because it's like Dutch, you shouldn't do that. It's so fucking stupid.
that's why his video though is called Should Games Be Frustrating? Because he literally at the end says, again, I'm paraphrasing, but he says something along the lines of like, these are he like has a few examples and he's like, these are some examples that worked for me and these are some examples that didn't work for me. And like frustration is one of these weird things that it's like a gamble on the side of the developers. Like a developer decides to deliberately frustrate the player and it's a gamble of is that going to pay off or not, and how sometimes it does pay off and sometimes it doesn't, and how that's kind of a subjective thing.
Oh, it's definitely subjective. I will say because
Yeah.
I've met people that don't mind that section of the game, and I was just like, oh, okay, cool. But I think it comes down to two kinds of mindsets. There's the like I don't want to make like new labels or anything, but there's like gameplay purists, and then there's like story purists in video games. I'm
No, I'd agree with
definitely
that.
I'm definitely a gameplay person. I think if you have an
Whereas
all right
I'm
story, you're fine, but that gameplay has to be perfect. If you fuck up
whereas
your
I'm
gameplay, yeah.
story.
Which is
Like
like,
I will happily play like a point and click game with no new gameplay and super repetitive. Like I'll play that for hours on end. Or even a game that like kind of has bad gameplay. I'll play it for hours on end if I think that's the story is worth it. And that's kind of like I think that's down to it. Well, it is down to personal preference, but I think you're right in that people tend to be one or the other.
yeah,
You're either playing a video game because you want to play a video game, or you're playing a video game because
I want to experience the story by sitting down on a
yeah,
bench and airlifting
yeah,
our main character out of the story. Could you imagine in Red Dead Redemption 2? Oh my
I
god,
agree.
what if they did that in Red Dead Redemption 2? They just like took Arthur alone to Guarma.
That would be really bad.
Would that
We
not
should
suck?
we should do a video at one point where it's just us debating Guarma.
I mean, we could the great Guarma debate. We could call it that
Yes. Oh my God.
cuz
We should do.
I honestly think just like as much as I love Red Dead Redemption 2, I think that section of the game was them trying to shake it up and just failing because what new did they bring to the table other than like a setting? They took out the most of what they brought that was new was by taking out whole chunks of the game for the sake of a
Comment
chapter.
if you want the great Guarma debate.
Yeah, if you
I
want the Great
do.
Gorma debate, all I'm saying
God.
is people are like, oh, it's a change of scenery. It's like it's something new and fresh, and it's like, but they took a lot of the stuff away from you. If it was a section of the game where it's like you're gonna be in Guarma for a bit and you can boat, like you can go back and forth or something. It's like, well, that's not very grounded in reality. It's like, but at least it'd be more fun if you could like hunt different things in Guarma. If you could,
Anyone who argues for Guarma and takes the gameplay approach is instantly going to fail.
well,
I don't think Guarma, like, I don't think you can defend or debate for Guarma using gameplay. I think you have to go at it from a story point of view because that's why it's there. Like, obviously, I haven't spoken to anyone behind the game, but like, I can see no reason why
yeah,
that's there.
no gameplay to no designer in their right mind would be like, what if we took away a bunch of the stuff people will inevitably enjoy doing in our game? Which is why I get it's a story thing, but you know what? We'll hold it off there. We're coming up on 2 hours. We might
We
as
are,
well.
we've talked for so long.
We've had a
I love
great
how we
time.
started this like, oh, it's probably going to be a chill episode where we don't really talk about much. And it probably won't last much because we're tired. And then we started talking about TV shows and we were like,
We
oh,
got it. Oh my god! If I get you going on Game of Thrones, or if you get me going on Walking Dead,
that's it.
it's over.
That's it, Mumu. Or both of us on BoJack. I think just,
Oh yeah, BoJack is so good.
I mean, literally, like I said, I wrote my dissertation on BoJack and Rick and Morty. And when I wrote it, it was literally when the last season of BoJack was coming out.
Right.
If I had been like a year later, so the final season of BoJack had been out already, like by the time I was just starting to plan my dissertation and stuff, I would have just done it on BoJack because I think season 6 has like so much stuff.
There's a lot there.
Your hairs are all over me. They're tickling me.
Well, there you go.
Wow.
A nice wave goodbye from Moo Moo. We'll
You
see
want to
y'all
turn
next
around?
time. Let us know if you want to see the Great Guarma debate in the comments below.
Here you come. Oh, I'm out of focus now, but you're here. Oh, ah,
What a little cutie.
yeah. Oh,
Oh my god.
you're so sweet,
Fuck!
even out of focus.
What a little
Even out of
cutie.
focus, you're so sweet. Ah, she's clawing me.
Well, great. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
See you
Bye.
later.